In this video, I'll share a secret that might just change the way that you trade. You see, what a lot of people fail to understand is that the market is time-based. It does certain things at certain times, and if you can predict that, well, then you can essentially predict market direction. And in this video, we'll talk about the 10 a.m. reversal. Now, the first example is going to be on Ethereum. You might be able to tell that this line right here represents 10 a.m. Now, I did say it was a reversal that had to happen at 10 a.m. However, you could also classify it as a run on liquidity that happens at 10 a.m. Now, oftentimes that means a reversal, but sometimes it also means a continuation. The point is, if you have a point in price where you are confident that the market will go, start looking to trade towards it at around 10 a.m. EST. So as said, this right here is Ethereum. Now, if I were coming into the market on this very morning, this right here would be the first target that I had in mind. That is also what we call an external range liquidity high. And as you can see, the market had absolutely no problem in breaking these highs right here. And so that tells me everything that I need to know about the order flow. So I have established a drawn liquidity, which again is this external high that we're looking at here. Now, all there's left for me to do is to figure out a way to get there. So again, 10 a.m. has just opened, and that means we are likely going to see a run on liquidity. Now, if I was correct about the drawn liquidity, that means that we are about to see a rally towards the external high that I'm talking about right here. So what we're going to do now is look for an entry towards that high after 10 a.m. has taken place. If we can get a retracement now, that's fine with me. We would have entered right off of this breaker block that we are seeing right here. So that is our fill, keeping the stop at the lows and keeping my take profit at the external high. So let's play it out and see exactly what happens. Again, entering based off of this 2-minute breaker block that we're seeing here. Let's play it out. And as you can see, we just had an immediate rally straight to the external high. Now, had I not known that 10 a.m. is a time where the market hunts liquidity, well, then I probably wouldn't have trusted this random breaker block. But because it happened right around 10 a.m., well, then that gave me the confidence to execute this position. So I got off a massive trade simply by knowing when time does what. You have to understand just how important time is. And that right there is proof. Of course, that is one of a few examples, but before we move on, let me introduce you to my exchange. toobit is my go-to exchange when it comes to trading in general. As you can see, they have a bunch of bonuses going on, and right now I can offer you 50 USDT for free by simply signing up with the link below. So if you're looking to change your exchange, or maybe you're just looking for some free cash, toobit is your answer. Let's jump right into the second example, which is going to be on SUI. As you might be able to tell, we have a bunch of trendline liquidity being formed on SUI. Now, the hard part is figuring out when the market is going to reach for that trendline liquidity, but we know that there's a high chance that it's going to do so at 10 a.m. So what we're going to do now is jump to a 2-minute time frame, and then we're going to wait for 10 a.m. to open, which is the very next candle. We can use the exact same analogy as we did before and ride this breaker block here. So I'm going to enter at the retest of this bullish breaker, keep my stop at the lows, and then target the first few highs here. Let's play it out and see exactly what happens. And there we go. So definitely not as clean as the previous example, but as you can see, it worked. Right when 10 a.m. opened, we saw the reversal towards the trend line, and that is exactly why I had the confidence to execute a long position off of the breaker block that we're seeing right here. Again, had I not known that 10 a.m. was a point in price where there's a high chance of a reversal, well, then I definitely wouldn't have had the confidence to just execute a trade towards that trendline liquidity. Knowing when to enter a trade is arguably the most important part of your system. And that is also one of the reasons why it's important that you learn to focus on individual markets. If I'm looking at 20 or 30 assets at the same time, well, then I will never get to know the tendencies which these assets have, which is why it is important that you learn to focus on few assets at a time. Now, with this very scenario here, I've noticed that the 10 a.m. reversal tends to take place in most markets. So with this very concept, you don't have to worry too much because, again, I have seen it happen in most markets. Third example is going to be on XRP. Now, as you can see, I have annotated these equal highs. Now, I've of course done that because equal highs is a very significant liquidity pool. There's a high chance that the market wants to reach these highs. And again, the hardest part about this is figuring out when the market wants to reach for these highs, which is exactly why this concept is so good. It simply helps you figure out the hardest part about trading. So again, let's jump to a lower time frame, like the 2-minute time frame, and in one candle, 10 a.m. will open. So what we're gonna do is simply look for an entry towards those equal highs. I'm not sure if we're gonna get one. We could enter off of optimal trade entry that we're seeing right here. So that means we would have been filled right there on this very candle. Could have kept a very tight stop, but we're going to make it realistic and keep our stop at the low that we're seeing here and our take profit at these very equal highs. So again, all there's left for us to do is to play it out and see what happens. And as you can see, it played out picture perfect. Now, again, I would not have had the confidence to execute towards those equal highs because, again, if I zoom out here, it does look rather bearish. But when you know at 10 a.m. there's a high chance of a reversal, well, then that now gives you the confidence to execute a trade against the trend. So again, that was just a picture perfect example of the 10 a.m. reversal actually playing out. Now, what's so great about this concept is that you don't have to change your system within itself. It's essentially a directional concept, which means no matter what system you're using, this information is still useful. Because now, after watching this video, you can continue to trade whatever system it is that you're trading, but now start looking for it at around 10 a.m. Let's jump right into the last example, which is on ONO. We have a bunch of stuff going on here: trendline liquidity, external range liquidity high, and in my opinion, it does look like the market wants to rally higher. So what we're gonna do is wait until 10 a.m., jump to a 2-minute time frame, and in the next candle, 10 a.m. will open. So we have a rather large imbalance, as you might be able to tell right here. So I am going to enter right inside of this fair value gap. Stop will go to this little swing low that you're seeing here. Keep a fairly large stop on this position and then target the external highs that we're seeing up here. So let's play it out and see exactly what happens. And there we go. Absolutely beautiful. So again, definitely not as clean as some of the other examples, but it does give you the idea. It does show you that the market tends to reverse at 10 a.m. That is simply when you can expect a move to happen. And so if you can figure out where the market is going next and combine that with the 10 a.m. open, well, then there's a very good chance that you can get a very good trade-off. So knowing things like this is extremely important because it will do nothing but increase your strike rate. You see, a lot of the videos out on YouTube are simply just trying to get you to change your strategy. But with information like this, you don't even have to change your system. This simply makes your strike rate higher with your already existing system. And that is exactly why I think it is just one of the most important concepts to add to your arsenal.